All right, lads, before we start today's yarn, I want to shout out Manscaped. They're supporting today's episode of The Search. They've launched a new product, the Lawnmower 4.0, right? It's the best clipper for shaving down there. Legit, it's the best clipper. You know all them other clippers, they cut you, they graze you, this and that. It's the best clipper, and I got a code for you. If you go to manscaped.com, you get 20% off by using the code TheSearch. You can click the link in the description, it'll be there, or go to manscaped.com. Make sure you use the code TheSearch, you get 20% off. Gun clipper, lad, go check it out. All right, welcome back, episode 5 of The Search. Tonight, I got a very special guest, no G-ups. Laurie Weeks is my childhood best friend, if not my only friend, and legit, mums, I'm telling ya, the talk that we have here, I've talked to Laurie, I swear, no more than 10 minutes in, I would say, 22, 23 years. So I pretty much know nothing about his life, and all you would know about my life is what you see on the internet, you know what I mean? We were inseparable when we were young. Our mums were best friends, and like, you know what I mean, like we were like family, and we split ways, and obviously I went on to live, there's a very divisive moment, and this is why I think this story is so special. I went on to live the life that you all know very well, and he went on to become a pro rugby union player, and played for the Wallabies, played for Melbourne, and everything, and yeah, anyway, it's the catch-up that you see me and Laurie have here is legitimately a catch-up. Like, you're witnessing this on camera. It's like two old best friends reuniting and like getting to know each other again. So for that's why I'm saying it's special. So like, let's get into it, brother. What are you
absolutely,
doing?
man. Good to see you, brother.
Yeah, bro. When did we meet, brother? Let's start right from the beginning.
Mate, I'd say it's like 1991 potentially.
I think it was under fives, right? Nappy grade, they called it. N grade, Marrickville RSL.
Yeah. So
I think we were 4, or if not 5. Is nappy grades a 4?
Yeah, under 5.
Because then there's under 5s.
I think it's under 5.
Under 5s, all right. So it would be about 91.
Yeah, and Steel Park, and like I've got this vivid image in my head of both our mums sitting on the bench next to each other talking, and I was like, shit. And I think from that first session, mate, we kicked it off.
I think it was,
Yeah.
I think from that first session, I think our mums become friends. Yeah. And that's what, like, I think that's how because our mums become friends, obviously, then we start,
I think that's how it happens anyway, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, crazy, huh?
And back then you were living at, I was living at, so this is when, obviously, when I was 4, 5, 6, 7 years old. Grew up around the Dulwich area. Went to Dulwich Primary School, and he was living.
I was in Dulwich then as well.
Behind the
high school.
Behind the Dulwich High. And fuck, bro, we done everything together, right, bro? It's like, bro, I tell people, like this yarn, like, you know, we'll get into some more like you know, like shenanigans and that, you know what I mean? I'm sure he'll be willing to tell you all my little shenanigans as a kid. And if he says the wrong things, we'll just edit them out, right? Only the cool stuff. But we're getting around the streets, like, we never went to the same school together. You went to Summer Hill.
Summer Hill, I was at Summer Hill, yeah. So it was still in Dulwich, like in the area, so I was able to go there.
Yeah.
But yeah, fuck, man.
Yeah, you went to Summer Hill, I went to Dulwich Hill, but we was like pretty much at least 3-4 days a week at each other's houses, sleeping over. I'm talking proper like family, like our mums were like second mums to each other. Like it was like that, you know what I mean? And bro, we were just cruising around, bro. Like you know what I remember, bro? This is how young we were. Remember when your little sister was born? Right? No, actually, I remember when you first seen your little sister.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say any names, right? But he's like, when his first sister was born, I remember we went to the hospital together. Yeah. And I don't know if it was at Randwick, and I full remember, like, we're walking up and you hadn't seen her yet. And we got to the door, and your mum was in bed, and your mum called you over, and I like stood back, and you went over and looked at your sister and like, yeah, bruh. That's how tight we were, bruh. But you know what I first remember, bruh? Like, ripping on her little, you know those tricycles with the plastic wheels?
Yeah, bro.
And we'll pump it down Charlotte Street because they used to drift, bruh.
Yeah, man.
They used to drift, and we'll pump it down.
And do you know what's, I think when I moved to Marrickville, I think we tried to pump down that big hill. You know, the one across from Steel Park?
Oh, no, bruh. That massive hill, we did pump it down. We pumped it down in recycling bins. But there's a street in Marrickville, right, across from Still Park. Funny enough, where we first met, but this was like a few years later. You end up moving straight across from there. It's named Wallace Street. Wallace Street.
Yeah.
It's got to be the steepest street in Sydney. It's so steep that you can sit at the top of it in a recycling bin. And it's so steep that you slide down at full speed into like a main road, into Illawarra Road.
Like we did like some gnarly shit. Like normally people would stop you from doing something like that. There was no one to stop us. And I think you would always egg it on. Like you said before, you'd always push the limits and be like,
I was the extremist.
And then we'd be like, all right, let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. You know what? I remember when I was obsessed, pretty much the whole time. Not like burning things / making advanced smoke bombs.
Yeah. No, I've thought about this story too.
All my smoke bombs. The smoke, smoke bombs. Well, I got the best smoke bombs. So we started off the smoke bombs in table tennis balls in foil. Yeah. And you remember I kept making. I don't know if you remember.
No, I remember very well. I remember very well. Yeah.
So
we're sitting up, and there was this. So there was this poor family that lived underneath the stairs there, and like we used to harass them. So we'd go up there and we're like throwing rocks at them.
The Asian family.
Filling up big water bombs and throwing them. They're sitting having barbecues in their backyard.
Yeah.
And just launching them at the barbecue.
Yeah, I remember.
And like purely just...
We're like 8. Yeah.
Purely just to cop a chase, because we're at the top of the stairs.
Yeah.
The guy would come outside like... bare-chested, no shoes, and sprint up the stairs after us.
Vietnamese bloke.
Yeah, and then we'd sprint off. Anyway, this time you're like, I've actually got this special smoke bomb that I've been thinking about. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. Anyway.
I called it the advanced smoke bomb.
You light it and you throw it, but you threw it into like dry bushes. Right? And then the guy chased us and we sprinted off.
Let me cut in 1 second. I'll tell you what it was. It wasn't table tennis balls in foil. So what I done in my own backyard once is I stuffed dry grass in a toilet roll. And if you like the dry grass, a crazy amount of smoke comes out. But it can catch on fire sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And so we took off. And I think we just ran down the street, went somewhere else, kicked it for a little while. Saw a massive plume of smoke, and you're like
a full cloud in the sky.
And I was like, fuck, and you're like, no, that's just how much smoke it makes.
The smoke bomb.
You remember that?
I remember. Bro, we're full like 2 streets away, full cloud, all the sky's smoke, and I'm going, that's it, bro, that's what it does. I told you, it's the maddest smoke bomb.
And then I think we came back to my house maybe like an hour later, and we look over, and there's the firefighters all just chopping down trees and
that. Yeah, we set half the cliff on fire. Yeah, bro.
And it's like, man, we're kids and just causing mayhem in the area.
Yeah. And bro, so like rugby league, that's how we met.
Yeah.
All right. I played for 2 years.
Yeah.
I think I played for Marrickville for 2 years, and I was never a good rugby league player. Just like, you know what I mean? It didn't interest me, and I just wasn't good. Laurie was always good. Like, pretty much every team that I remember you being on, you're always the player.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And so rugby league was like, I remember you went on, you played, as a kid, you always played in South Sydney.
Yeah.
Because you ended up playing for Mascot.
Played Mascot for a year, maybe? I think it was like under 12s or something. Yeah, like my last year of league was...
And Botany.
And Botany, yeah.
You played for Botany Rams too.
That's right.
Played for Botany, and then you played for Mascot.
Yeah.
And so that was always a thing. Like we were best... when we got to the age of about... So we grew up in the Marrickville, Dulwich area. There's even a stage that we lived together in the same house. We lived together. And we both, just coincidentally, or maybe not... we both moved to the city. So at the same time that he moved to Lilyfield, which is a suburb attached to the back of Glebe, I moved to Ultimo, which is a suburb attached to the front of Glebe. So we both moved to the Glebe area when we were about, say, maybe 10?
No, that would have been about 13 because that was my first year at school.
Oh, 13?
Oh, no, sorry, it was my second year at school. Because my first year at school was when we lived together in Canterbury.
Yep.
So like,
was it?
Yeah.
Oh, that was your first year of high school?
Yeah.
All right, you got to understand, this is 25 years ago, literally 25 years ago. But like, back to it, you were always full gun at footy.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah,
and this is how I remember us splitting ways, is that I then, because we moved to the Glebe area, I stopped playing rugby league. I stopped playing sport altogether.
Because you were, mate, like, I don't know if you remember, you were a pretty handy AFL player.
AFL.
Boxing. You were, like, the sports that you stuck to and had a crack at, you're actually quite good at.
I'm a natural at everything. I'm the GOAT, brother. I'm the GOAT. Have a look at me. Anything I do, I'm the GOAT. Even when I do crime, I make sure I spend my life in jail. That's how good I am. But, nah, like, all seriousness, when we moved to Glebe, I ended up playing AFL. You remember that? You actually come to a game or two and watch you play AFL. Full different. This is when AFL wasn't a thing in Sydney. Like, now it's normal for kids to play AFL and they understand AFL. I played AFL when it was like, people wouldn't even know what AFL was. It's not even now, they tease AFL in Sydney. They wouldn't even know what AFL was. And I was playing AFL for Glebe. But yeah, Laurie, he was always really good. And I just remember one day, so yeah, it was when we were 12 years old or whatever, in year 6. And someone, tell us the story about how you end up...
Look, I was my headmaster at my primary school. So he was an old boy at St. Joseph's College, Hunters Hill, which is like an elite boys...
Summer Hill Primary?
Summer Hill Primary, yeah. So he was an elite boys private school, boarding school. And it was not something that we'd ever thought we'd go to or something we'd be involved with.
Absolutely not. Didn't even know that world existed.
Mate, didn't even know anyone who was involved in from that life. And so he was the head of the Old Boys Union, and he'd seen me play a few games of footy, and it was like, Laurie spoke to my mum, was like, I think we can get him a scholarship to this school. And
St. Joseph's at Hunters Hill, is that it?
Yeah, man. And I thought about this on the drive in. Actually, I remember I went to meet the principal, and
I come with you on your orientation or whatever before you start. I come with you. I know the school. I was there with you, and we walked in, and I remember both of us, like, just because you come down the driveway or something, but on the left there's like a swimming pool with diving boards, and it was like, remember we used to sneak in at Leichhardt pools, and I remember you seeing the pools, and you're like, but there's pools here, bro. Like, the school's got pools, and I was like that, But sorry, keep going, bro.
This might have been the same day, because
I think it would have been,
and I had to go meet the headmaster, and I remember sitting like, and I still think about this. I was like, I rocked up in like an Adidas tracksuit. Because like that was the nicest clothes I had, you know what I mean? And I was like, that's the best clothes I have, and so
it was matching.
Yeah, it was a matching one. It was a matching one. You remember the one?
Yes.
And then it wasn't even until I started. I was there for a little while and seeing other people go for their orientations, and like they're all dressed up in suits.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck, man, I was really out of my depth there, eh?
Yeah. So you went. So that's how it come about. That's along with the story that I knew. I just knew somebody approached your mum and said, listen, like, and painted it in a way that if you went to this school and played rugby union, not to say anything wrong with rugby league, but like it's a different life to rugby league. It's a different life. If you stuck it out of rugby league, you'd have been in the streets with me. You'd have been playing rugby league in the afternoon. You'd been in the streets with me. Rugby union, it's the whole like rich. It's like it's rich people's lifestyle. It like is, the schools, the full. Yeah, so like, well, next minute, this is how I remember it. Next minute, this is the thing. We're full, inseparable best friends, sleepovers. His mum was my mum. That's how close. All the way, our whole life pretty much. My only friend, we got to the age of 12 years old, and then I just remember your mum or my mum saying, all right, Laurie's going. He's like going to live at a school. That's it. I was like, what the fuck you mean? And it was like, I didn't swear, but I was like, what do you mean? He's going to like live at a school, and it's like, yeah, he made it because he's good at footy and this and that. And then I was like spewing, and then you were spewing. I remember you were actually really upset, right? I remember you were really upset, and I remember they were saying to both of us, but I remember your mum saying to you, it's all right, Laurie, like you get to come home every 3 months and trying to make you feel better about it. And then like it was painted to me in a way that like, it's sweet, me and Laurie will still be friends, but like I'll get to see you in the holidays or whatever. And I think there was like, from that point on, we had maybe spent like, maybe I seen you a couple of times.
It would have been a couple of moments, but I think...
and then that was the whack.
Yeah.
Like that was legit.
But look, you probably definitely were heading down another path at that point. It would have been 100. That exact time.
It was exact.
That exact time.
And this is what he's saying now. That's the definitive moment. Like, it's like that moment because we followed each other, right? it was at the exact age where you'll find out how I talk about it in my book too. It was at the exact age where I switched it on and just become a criminal. Like I got really into smoking pot and stealing cars and this and that, and that was the exact time. So I think when you left to school, by the time you'd even come back after 3 months or 6 months, I was already a Gant-wearing car thief. I think I was.
That's what happened, Ben. That's what happened. And I think that's kind of why we probably just drifted apart, man. Because like we had probably had different, I guess, I wouldn't say motives, because like that, I think everyone wants to be successful at what they do, but we're living different lives, you know, hanging with different people. I mean,
the complete other, the contrast. I was with the hoodlums in Glebe and Waterloo, and you were with like all the rich white people in Hunters Hill.
I was with the hoodlums on the school holidays.
On the school holidays. Yeah, he's with like the Prime Minister's son and like true. And like,
it's true.
Like
it's true. It's true.
It's freaky. How was that experience, lad? School?
Bro, mate. Look, so I fucking love boarding school, man. Think about it as a kid. All you're doing is spending like every day living with your best mates, hanging around, talking shit, and getting up to mischief at school as much as you can. But like, fuck, man. Like, I reflect on it now. Like, coming from where we came from, you're thrown into a situation where you know that everyone else has more than you. So like you do feel out of place. I think that school in particular loves rugby and always been about rugby. And so that was kind of I had to like be a lot better at it to be accepted
to make up for it.
For like, in my mind anyway. I don't know how much those boys cared, but like in my mind, I fucking cared a lot. You know what I mean? Like you know immediately who has more than you, and it's very clear to see. Like, here's the thing. So school holidays, like the boys are all getting picked up in like Bentleys and Mercedes and stuff. Fuck, I had to get the cab. I had to get a cab back home or get a cab back to school. And if I didn't, I remember we had to buy pot for one of the next door neighbours to drive me to school.
Oh no!
You know what I mean? So this is my experience going through all of that, watching them do the same thing.
Yeah. So they're going from like, no over exaggerate, like multi-million-dollar lifestyles and parents that are known people, and he's catching the cab back from houses at the back of Glebe. And going back to the houses for 2 weeks and then going back.
But that was it, man. Like, and it's and you know what's funny, man? It's probably something that's probably kept me grounded the entire time throughout my career. Like, my mum only just moved out like 2 years ago. So whenever I came back to Sydney, like no matter how far along I went in rugby, I came back and stayed at Housing Commission. You know what I mean? I was coming back staying at the flat.
Now. Like at the same house your mum lived until just 2 years ago.
So she was in there for 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy, bro. So tell me, like, I'm like genuinely, I genuinely don't know this stuff. I'm asking for me. On a part, like, I'm not just saying, these aren't written questions, so like tell the audience, this is me learning what happened to my best friend. Because I know so little that I don't even know what his schooling was like a year after we parted ways. So like going to that school was like, you lived there, really sport focused. And your thing was rugby union. So was it a thing that, because you got a scholarship to go there, was it a thing that you had to play rugby union or you're out? Is that how it works?
Pretty much. Oh, fuck. I don't know.
You don't know, like, you just done it anyway.
I just did it anyway, mate.
That's what you're trying to do.
I wasn't not going to, like, and I...
Can I ask you, so you went there when you were 13, 14, right? You're going to school there. Is that the step for commitment to, in your mind then, were you thinking like, oh, it's so lucky I was good at rugby league, now I got a good education, I wonder what life holds? Or was it from that moment, I was good at rugby league and this is my path, I'm going to become a pro rugby union player?
Yeah, fuck, man, it started earlier than that.
It started earlier
as a kid, man. I think I enjoyed footy, and like you speak about like, and I was a lot bigger than everyone as a kid, man.
I remember.
And then like obviously, so I was playing well as a kid, and everyone's like, "You're gonna be a professional footy player. You're gonna be a star." And I was like, I think there's like moments that click in your head. You're like, "All right, fuck it, I'm gonna go do that." And like, and it's genuinely probably been the driving force behind pretty much all my decision making until like the last 2 years.
What happened to me?
Mate.
Let me understand this then, all right? So when we were best friends, every day we're going around, I'm burning things, I'm stealing things, and, making bombs and this and that, right? you in your head, you're thinking, my mate's cracked, I'm going to be a pro footy player.
Yeah, something like that, man.
Why didn't you tell me? You should have said.
Look, man.
No, I'm joking.
You can't, I don't think you can like say it out loud as a kid. You know what I mean?
Course,
like, this is me thinking back in like sort of retrospect.
Yeah. So far, there's something I didn't know, bro. You always had that. So then clearly, when you were in school, what was rugby union like in school? Like I heard that I said the last thing that I really heard. All right, sorry, a lot of the reason that we separated, right, is not just because he went to boarding school, because then you say like we could have still, pretty much after he went to boarding school, I started stealing cars and taking drugs like within that year, and I spent the rest of my juvenile years in Cobham. So I was locked up the whole time. That's why, like, that's probably more the reason that we drifted apart. And then I graduated, like, you know, when you went to Sydney Uni, I went to Park Lee. All right. So he went to Sydney Uni after his HSC. I went to Park Lee from Putland Primary School in Cobham. And then, I completed my HSC at Park Lee and MRRC. And then 17 years later, I got out, lad. No, all jokes aside, the last thing I did hear, bro, like I got out of Cobham once and Mum told me that you made it to schoolboys. Tell me, bro.
Yeah, no. So, it kind of started going through fucking school. Like, I was pretty good, man. Like, and again, it probably just fueled the fire. You know, you're like, oh, maybe I can do this. Like this is probably it's a thing coming from where we come from. Like, people are like, what do you want to be when you grow up? You're like, fuck, I don't know. I don't know. What do you mean? What do you mean? I don't know.
I remember I used to want to be a sniper.
Yeah, 100%.
Put it, look, you know that I'm not 100% normal now. I was less normal when I was a kid. So my thing was, I wanted to be a sniper when I was older, and now I'm going to be a fire starter. But fucking...
Yeah, no. And then... So I was lucky enough, and this was my first time to be able to represent the country, man. And like, that's fucking sick.
At how old?
17? Yeah, 17. And so
you were that worked because all the like private school, the boarding schools, rugby union schools, they all verse each other in a competition.
Yeah. Well, so in that actual team, it's all the private schools. So all the private schools end up playing each other to make one team.
The best.
And then all the public schools end up playing together to make one team.
Oh, and the private and
then they play each other, and the public schools pump the private schools every year, man.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. Like they pump them every year. But then they make
to hear that.
Then they make a team out of those teams.
Yeah.
And they end up going to make the Australian team.
Can you give me a rundown of the best like known private schools and the known public schools that are rugby union schools?
Fuck, I must say this is the thing. There's no known rugby union schools. There's
for public.
For public, yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
So they're all just like there'll be one random kid from I know good guys from Richmond High.
Yep.
Or fucking like Granville, like just random schools, but because they play club on the weekend, so they still play for clubs and shit like that.
Play club on the weekend,
But it's just look, man,
that'd be all that public school team would be all like Islander lads from out west, eh? I thought it'd be all like the rich white kids and a couple of lucky Islander boys in the private school, and then just be a bunch of Tongans in the public school from Campbelltown.
And that's why that's why it's a bit unfair.
Yeah, that's how I imagine it. And then so you got picked out of the private school. You played for Australia, and what happened?
And look, we played Tonga, New Zealand, and Fiji that year. We didn't travel, which is fucking disappointing. So
it all happened in Australia. How's New Zealand as a school? Because New Zealand, I don't know much about rugby union, but New Zealand's we love rugby union.
They're just as good as kids as well.
They're still the best as kids.
Still the best as kids, man. It's the same thing, man. It's in their blood, man. It's in their blood. It's like if we were going to play New Zealand at AFL, we'd pump them.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Even rugby league.
Yeah, exactly.
You're lucky you got one sport, and that's why they love it so much.
And then went on from there. Went to play at Sydney Uni. And like Sydney Uni was my fucking local club, like in Leafield, and it's 10 minutes. There's a 10-minute walk up the road, and I didn't drive, so I didn't drive. No one in my family drove, so everywhere I had to go was by public transport. So
after year 12, you went all the way. You got your HSC, and then part of the natural path of rugby union is then to go to a uni and play for a uni.
No. So Sydney Uni is just the one team that's a university.
Oh, is it?
So it's not even like part of the uni. It's not the uni.
Oh, okay.
It's a rugby club essentially that's in the university. So
Oh, okay.
So they're like,
so it's not a university.
No. I'm not going there to get the education. You know what
I mean? All right, sweet. Yeah, I get it. Yeah. And I know Sydney Uni used to play like Randwick and stuff like that. Yeah, I know that competition. And you done that and for
did that for 5 years there, and then
didn't you win like 3 years in a row? Weren't you like Sydney Uni with a gun team?
Yeah, man.
He's won like 3 grand finals or something,
mate. So they won 3. They won 3 when I was there.
Yeah.
And I think they went on to win like another 7 potentially.
No way.
So maybe 9 in a row. So like
in a row.
Like
Jesus.
They were good, man. They were good, and it's a good setup. They've got good facilities, man. But like it's a classic case of like, you see one team doing well, everyone wants to go there. You know what I mean? And all the players. So like I was part of like a line of players who all went on to play professionally. Yep. So you see a club where all the players are going on to play professionally. Of course you're fucking going to go there. You're like, and you're going to do whatever it takes to get there.
It's like college basketball in America. They all want to go to the
It's like if we're successful, you're going to follow that. So fuck it. Like a lot of people sort of hate uni for that. I'm like, well, mate, it's their success they've built. Like, fuck off. True. But yeah, look, I was there for a little while, and look, even then, like I was probably 23, and like it's probably getting a bit on, and like you're probably not going to make it, and like even though that seems young, but that's kind of the age.
Is that the age?
Yeah.
What is the mentality like? Because then obviously that's when you're playing for those teams. When you're playing that in the schoolboys, I can imagine there's serious people and there's not. Yeah. And when you're playing that, it's like everyone, they're putting all their chips in for this.
Yeah, they're serious. It's super serious, man.
And you're playing with 18, 19, 20-year-olds?
Yeah, roughly around that age, probably a bit older.
A little bit older. And the way it's looked at, like you just said, is if it's 23 and you haven't been picked yet, you're not going to get picked when you're 26, right?
Well, it's
a lot harder.
It's that level where you're like, fuck, do I just go start finding a job? You know what I mean? You're like, I've been focusing on this my whole life.
Bro, that's actually pretty hard.
You're like, fuck, do I have to just do I give it up and find a job, or do I find a job and keep playing?
Do you get paid for that?
I didn't. No,
you didn't. Do some people do?
Mate, I don't know. I don't know. I think surely some guys do, but they keep it under.
You weren't.
But I wasn't. No.
So you literally put in pretty much your whole life at that point into it.
Yeah.
And you got to 23 and you were asking yourself the question?
Yeah, absolutely. I was like, fuck, well, look, I'll keep playing because I fucking love it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have to kind of decide that this is not what my life is.
Yeah.
And then there was a assistant Wallabies coach called me up and he's like, Laurie, come meet me down in Coogee. Like, random meeting. I've never met this guy before in my life.
Yeah.
And I didn't know of him, but he's like, Laurie, come meet me. Went and sat down, had a coffee with him. He's like, how would you like to come to Queensland next year? I was like,
nah.
I was like, fucking really? He's like, yeah, we'll do up the contract. Bang. And it was probably
would be the
15-minute conversation. And he was like, and that's
like, that would be up to that point, like the ultimate moment of your life.
Fucking oath.
That's like you ring your mum screaming.
Yeah. Fucking that was it, man. Caught the bus to Coogee. They had to catch the bus.
Wow, so you got picked for Queensland out of nowhere. At the time, you were questioning yourself. Questioning your career,
And look, I went on to Queensland, which is like...
Can I just ask before you move on, what percentage of players say, like, because I imagine then at Sydney Uni, like you said, yous are all serious, and half the people would have lived that since they were 4, just like you, and they would have done it through school. What percentage of people make it out of that level into pros?
Fuck yeah.
Like 1 in 10?
Yeah, maybe 1 in 10. Maybe 1 in 10, maybe.
So there's a lot of
But again, like fuck. So like this Sydney Uni is just one team, and like I said before, it attracts like the talent.
Yeah.
So it's probably a high percentage there. But then you go to other clubs.
Teams, they barely get anyone.
Man. Man. And like they still have the same aspirations and have the same sort of drive. And goals.
And that goes for all sports all over the world, eh? Yeah. You can imagine how many people have just put their all and everything into it, and just like,
fuck. But that's sport, man.
That is,
and that's like the payoff's big, but it's fucking a lot of commitment, man. Like you got to dedicate your life to it.
So next minute you're flying to Queensland. So how does that go? You got to live in Queensland.
Yeah, got to move.
Queensland Reds.
Queensland Reds, yeah.
But what's your position called? Sorry, I watch. I've watched you on TV. Let me say this, Jan. So I hadn't seen you. This is 2008. And I hadn't seen Laurie now for, say, 1998.
Yeah, nearly 10 years.
99. All right, so at this point it was 10 years, so a life ago. It was like 10 years. It was like I didn't even know him anymore at that point. All right, 2008. I'm in 2008 when you played for Australia.
Nah, 2013 played for Australia.
Let me start again. 2008, he was playing for someone on TV. I don't remember who it was. And I remember it was 2008, but maybe I got the Australia wrong. And I seen him on TV. And I said to my cellmate, and I forgot Jade, and I seen ya. And like, I didn't know nothing about the sport, right? I sort of know rugby league, not fully properly. And I didn't no idea with rugby union. But like, I seen him on TV, and I was saying to my cellmate, I saying, see him, but that's my best mate. That's my best mate. Then they're going, fuck. My mate's like, my cellmate is like, pay our way, right? And I said, bro, that's my best mate. We were like best friends together. I was like, that's his name. His name's Laurie. We play like that. And I was looking for the little glimpses. All I remember is you were like, tell me what this position is, bro. So every time someone gets tackled, all the big cunts go in and smash them. You're one of them cunts.
Yeah. So it's like forwards and backs, man. Forwards just go around and do all the nasty shit, like just fucking clean.
You just dive in.
Just like smashing people,
that
man.
Shit looks crazy.
It's not good for your body, man.
Bro.
It's not good for your body, bro.
Like you see rugby league, right? And they get like straight on tackles. That's it. Big tackles are right.
Yeah.
But these cunts, they tackle each other. And then when you're on the floor, you got to protect yourself so you don't die. Because there's all these guys, they're just full speed. They just come in and just go bang, lad.
What's
that about?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Without getting technical, man.
Like the bloke's tackled. Don't kill him. What is the name of your thing?
I was a tight head prop, yeah. So number 3. So I'm front of the scrum. So every time it goes down, like fuck, I've got to sort of anchor that. It's a shit position, man. I wouldn't wish it on.
Is it just the full muscle head does it?
Yeah, pretty much, man. You're
the full battering ram.
Yeah, cop a beating, man. And it's like I wouldn't wish it on my kids.
That's why your ears like show me your ear because you have to see his ears. Looks like UFC fighter. He's got them ears. That's from headbutting people.
Yeah, cunts always ask me, and I'm like, no, rugby.
You should just throw off. You should just say you're playing UFC.
Let's go down. Let's go down.
Black belt jiu-jitsu. Let's lad. Nah.
Yeah, fuck, and like so yeah, like I wouldn't wish it upon my kids, but chances are they're probably gonna have to be a prop anyway. You know what I mean?
It's genetics, eh?
It's genetics.
You're not gonna be a halfback, brother. Relax. You're gonna weigh 117 kilos, right? Yeah, bro. Sorry, bro. Like, boom. You moved to Queensland. You were 23.
23. Played every game in the first year. Won Rookie of the Year, Australian Rookie of the Year.
No way.
Yeah, man. Like,
wow.
Yeah, I know.
So you went from, I don't know if I'm going to make it, maybe I should look for a job, this can be a hobby, to Australian Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
What was your mentality to make that happen, bro? Like, you went up there, did you just... Because
I just embraced it, bro. Like it wasn't even like.
Was it everything to you?
Yeah, man. But like I think I take this from being at boarding school and stuff, man. I just fucking loved being in a team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I loved it. I loved being part of like a group and fuck, man. Like it is the best job in the world. Like hands down, man. You get paid well to hang out with your mates and exercise and travel the world.
I can imagine. Being a famous, well-paid sportsman, you're just kicking back with the boys, flying around. Making a lot of money.
That's exactly what it is, man.
It is. It's crazy.
And then had that year, and then the second year, I got picked in my first Wallabies squad.
Yeah.
And so like
in your second year.
In my second year, man, and which was which was the life dream, man. I was always like, I want to play for Wallabies. So I was like, and didn't end up playing that year. And then I moved to Melbourne, and that's when I got picked up by Melbourne.
So you played for 2 years.
Yeah.
And the Melbourne Rebels franchise started. And they asked you if you want to come down.
What
year was that?
I was 2010, end of 2010. I was the very first sign-in for the team.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man.
No way. They should have your statue there.
Yeah, they fucking should. They should, bro.
First ever Melbourne Rebels heritage player, Hall of Famer. Yeah. Let's Oj.
Yeah.
Bro, so can you tell me? So when you first went to Queensland, then now you're a professional.
Yeah.
What's a day look like? What's a day look like in a professional rugby union player?
Fuck, so like, it's being professional, you got to be fucking covered across all detail. So there's a lot of like footage you have to watch, a lot of review. There's fucking a lot of meetings. Like you have like 2 or 3 meetings a day in your different groups, and then obviously
About what?
Fuck
What do you mean? Footage
Bro,
of what?
You watch the opposition. You watch opposition player.
no way.
You got to study them. You got to know everything about them.
So like it's like how when
Mate,
you watch movies and NFL players, they're watching the other
it's the
team
same thing.
and
It's
there's
the same
maybe
thing.
with the board.
Because like you got to remember, it's still a fucking job.
Yeah,
it's still
true.
a job. So you got to still approach it that way.
All right. So it becomes a bit less jokey and it's a bit more responsibility now.
When you're at work, but
Yeah.
as soon as you finish work, man.
So you
And then you have your 2-hour gym session, 2-hour field session.
by gym, what do you mean?
In the gym, weights.
Please, I'm really interested in
Yeah.
this.
So mate,
Every day?
we do that 4 days a week.
Sorry, this is really interesting to me because this is always my approach. Anybody who has money online to do something professionally, there is a team of people who have worked out the optimal way to do anything because money's on the line. Money is a big enticement. So in the same way, the way a bodybuilder trains is unarguably the best way to train. That's why they win. So I'm really interested in how professional teams and how they put the schedule and they schedule your training, and it would be a scientific based system.
So you got sports scientists, you got everything there.
Please tell me in semi-detail your training week in strength. Strength explosiveness is?
Yeah. So it's actually changed a lot. So I'll talk through my time there. When I started, it's a lot of squats, a lot of lower body stuff. For my position in particular, it's a lot of lower limb, a lot of core.
Oh, sorry. So different boys got different things to do.
So that's it, man.
Based on your
like
position.
a winger, man. Like we don't have the same requirements on the field.
100%.
And we don't even have the same. Like we don't have the same. We're not even the same person. You
No,
know.
So you're doing squats. He's doing explosive.
Yeah. But like that's actually changed a lot now. Like with sports science, I know there's a lot more explosive and like plyometric stuff that they do now. It's not so much just out and out going there squat 5 times as heavy as you can. They don't do that shit anymore.
They don't.
I think so I was trained wrong, eh?
Yeah. No way. So they've come to a new system.
A more
advanced system.
But it evolves, man. That was so shit. That was.
What was your training week though? So. 4 days a week? If you probably don't remember, it was a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday.
I'll run you through it. Like so, pre-season, fuck, every day. You're in every day. They'll flog you till about Christmas. Come back from Christmas, you do another 2 weeks of pre-season, and then once you start getting into the game, so you
can I ask you? Sorry, because I'm really interested in this.
No, go for it.
Can I ask you like your training split?
In terms of,
say, you're in there every day.
Yeah.
Do you just do the same thing every day, or Monday, Tuesday? Do you remember that?
I can't remember the exact programs, but
Roughly?
no. But maybe I can find them. Maybe I can find some copies. I'll send them to you.
Do you vaguely remember like one day you do lower body, one day you do upper body?
Well, look, and you also got to time it around. You're not going to do lower body the day of a big running session. Because you're going to fuck yourself. Or like you're not going to do lower body 2 days before a big running session. You've got to you got to sort of manage that. That's not my business, man. I just rock up and do the work.
But you train, and it was every day.
Every day, man.
It really does go against the scare theory of overtraining to say that, like, because everyone's like, if you train 2 days in a row, you're overtraining. And here you are absolutely smashing
but you become look, for fucking the person down the street training fucking 3 days in a row. That's going to be tough. But like, this is your job, and like you're used to it now, and
so it does. Yeah, you
sort of battle hard into it.
Yeah.
And man, and so say we played on a Saturday.
Yep.
You'd recover from, so play a Saturday night, you'd have the Sunday off, come in, do like a review on Monday. Tuesday was like your big session.
Yep.
So big weights, big field. You'd recover on Wednesday.
Yep.
Come back in Thursday, have another sort of sharpening.
Yep.
And like you've already done all the hard work in pre-season. So this moment,
this is during the season.
You're just rolling on. And then come Friday, you do like probably a really short, sharp session just to sort of crisp everything up and make sure everything's running smooth.
Yeah.
Then come Saturday, it's fucking game day.
Again.
Yeah.
And then,
And then
Is that a common template for all?
Pretty much.
Even rugby league teams, would you say?
I can't say for them, but like it makes sense anyway, man. You know what I mean?
If we do it for union, why wouldn't they? Same. It's almost the same. What was your time like at Queensland? How did it change to like Melbourne? Like,
so how's this? I when I was playing for the Reds, and like I was a big part of that team.
Yeah.
They actually went on. So I left. They went on to win the whole fucking thing the next year.
The Super 16,
the,
whatever.
14
Super
or whatever.
14.
They went on to, and like
with overseas teams too.
Yeah.
Hurricanes and that. Yeah.
And I went to fucking Melbourne and came last.
Oh no way. Melbourne come last.
Yeah. And like everyone's like, why the fuck did you leave? So many people ask me. But like,
but it worked out. Yeah.
Like it was.
Thinking long term.
It was
yeah. Thinking long term.
It was like more money.
Oh yeah. There you go.
And like,
that's it. Well, you can't argue with that.
It was enough not to argue with. You know.
Yeah.
But look, then moved to Melbourne, and it was all about starting a new team and being part of like a leader in the team, and but awesome, man. And like, but in Melbourne, like you think people in Sydney don't give a fuck about rugby union. Melbourne don't care at all.
I can imagine.
But like I think that was the constant struggle, man.
Yeah,
so,
because at least in people in Sydney, we don't really care about rugby league, but rugby union, but we are the home of rugby league, and it's the brother of it.
Yeah.
So at least it's understandable. Hey. Melbourne people would have despised it.
Fuck, mate.
What are you doing just rolling around on each other? And like, that's how they carry on, eh?
100%.
You're just rolling around doing nothing. Like, what's a scrum? Like, yeah, I can imagine.
And then, even then, so like the Storm were there. And like, the Storm are probably one of the most successful. They're a fucking Storm. Dynasty. You know what I mean? And like,
at the same time.
And even then, like, the Storm don't get the coverage or the press that you'd think they would. Like, you go down there, it's back-to-back AFL.
Yeah.
Maybe a small article on the Storm, and we're not even in it. So it's like...
Yeah.
Whereas
Rebels use it like the last.
No, we're like in the crossword section.
Melbourne Rebels win the Super 14s. It's next to the crosswords, eh? The horoscopes.
It's in the quiz.
It's in the quiz.
Guess who won?
Yeah. In the quiz, eh? Yeah, so what were this a home game? Did you get fans?
So fuck. I went from in Queensland we're getting 40,000 each game, which is awesome. And Queensland is like you spent a bit of time in Queensland. They're passionate, you know. They love it, and they love their state, they love their city, and I loved it. I love being a part of it. And so it was difficult coming to Melbourne. I think our first game we packed it out, had about 30,000 in the stadium, and that's as much as it holds. But then it sort of gradually dwindled off. And
because it was a new thing, it would have been promoted so they would have all showed up, and then
And I mean, like, look, obviously there's the fucking diehard fans, like they love it, it. But there's not many. So look, and probably as I went on, I was there I played another 8 years there, lived in Melbourne for another 10 years. And it kind of never grew. And like,
sorry, you. Oh, so you lived in 10 years all up in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Whereabouts? Like, what suburb?
Man, so you'll appreciate this. So I lived in actually when I first moved there, moved to Richmond.
Richmond.
So I was right next to the MCG, awesome spot. And then like
it's on the east side of the
side
of the city.
Yeah. And then I moved down to a place called Elwood, which is right next to St Kilda. Bought my flat there. So like this I was going to say.
Bought a flat.
Bought a flat, man, and I was like,
settle down.
I know, bro. No, but like, fuck, that's big for us. You know what I mean? Like, no one does it. No one does it. So,
I mean, like, I'm gonna live down this. I'll just buy that one. Sport, boys. This is like, all jokes aside, like, keep going.
And so like it's such a nice area. It's like the Clovelly of like it's probably the equivalent.
Clovelly of Melbourne.
It's like beachside. It's fucking. It's nice. Really. It's awesome. It's awesome, man.
Elwood.
Elwood.
Spelt the same as the Sydney one?
No, not Elwood.
Elwood. Yep.
And look, that and I'm not saying that to like big note myself. I'm just saying fuck, like it was such a contrast from where we'd come from, and being able to like say, I own this little bit of fucking this small house in like one of the nicest spots in Melbourne, you know.
And so what? There would have just been a spin out. So you went to like an auction or something?
Yeah, bro. See, but like, don't forget, like, so like a lot of people already know how this shit works.
Yeah.
I fucking don't have any idea. Like, I was like, even when I was playing footy, they're like, oh yeah, my parents told me this is what you do at the auction, and you do this, and I'm like, I've got no fucking idea what you do. So I ended up actually pay for someone to go to the auction for you.
Oh, did you?
So I paid someone to go to the auction for me.
Yeah.
And they did all that stuff, and like worked out well, man. And like that was the same year, like. This is fucking awesome. I think it was the same year that I played for the Wallabies.
Yeah.
Like, so I bought my own, my own apartment.
Yeah. In 2013.
Sorry, I fucked up before 2014.
2014.
Yeah.
Wow. Hectic.
Yeah.
And you lived in that apartment for...
Lived there until 2020 until I moved back here.
Oh, so just recently.
So yeah.
So the majority of the time you lived in Melbourne, you lived in your own apartment.
Yeah.
With a missus?
For a while. Yeah.
Yep.
So, and probably part of the reason I ended up moving back to Sydney, broke up just before COVID broke out.
Yep.
And then I was fucking stuck in my apartment on my own with my own thoughts for the the Melbourne lockdown.
Yeah.
Not good for their head, bro.
Yep.
And so I think as soon as that sort of ended, as soon as the lockdown ended, I was like, fuck, I'm moving back to Sydney. And it's almost to the days. I think it's on Friday. It's a year to the day that I moved to Sydney.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
And
tell me, bro, look, we skipped the whole you played for Australia.
Yeah, I know. We're bounced
Don't worry about 2020. Let's go to the climax.
Yeah, bro. Fuck, what a fucking dream come true, eh?
Yeah.
So look, I wasn't even in the squad. Yep. I was in Queensland. So the whole squad wasn't in Queensland, and I'd been training just alongside the squad because they just needed some extra numbers.
Yeah.
And I think they went pretty shit in one of the games.
Yeah.
And the head coach at the time was my coach from the Reds.
Yep.
So he's like, fuck. He's like, Laurie, you're gonna play this week. Naming the team from outside the squad.
No way.
Ended up playing where was the first game? And so our first game was in Melbourne of all places.
Oh, yep.
So came down, got to play in front of my home crowd in Melbourne.
Who'd you play?
The French.
France.
Yeah.
Is that called the Caltex?
No.
No. Continue. I'm going to stop trying to know. Yeah, sorry.
No.
I was going to make something up then. Thought I knew, bruh.
Fuck, I should have got around
to
it.
you should have got, how do you know, lad? Yeah.
And then, so I did that, and fucking even better, came back to, the next game was in Sydney, so I got to play in front of my own Sydney crowd.
Yep.
And, that was sick. So, when I was in Melbourne, all my schoolmates, because, they're still my real close friends. I grew up with them through school.
Yep.
They all flew down to Melbourne to watch me.
Yep.
And then when I played in Sydney, all the boys came. So it was man, that, and that's, for me, that was the most important thing. Was not only my family, but my mates were there. Because for me, that's pretty important. Because especially with the boys, I always felt like I was representing.
Who, your boys from the street?
Yeah.
Like who?
So I ended up hanging out. I think.
Do I know?
Yeah, I'm probably not. Dobes and that. Pat, Pat.
Yep.
So a lot of Francis, all the Millers Point boys.
Yep.
So they will end up being real close mates of mine.
So those boys rocked up. Hectic. That's
and
smart,
so fucking it was awesome, man. It was awesome, and I was like, I think highlight fucking so far in my life. And then so look, and I unfortunately never fucking played again. I was in a couple of squads moving on. I think I was in a squad before about to play the All Blacks. And tore my hamstring on the Thursday, and I was kind of like, that was it.
That was
but then still ended up playing for another 6 years. It wasn't the be all and end all.
No.
But it's
did you win the games against France?
Yeah.
You won
100%, man.
France a good team.
Yeah, they're a good. They just beat New Zealand 2 days ago.
Dead set.
Yeah.
Far out. The things I knew they played rugby union.
Yeah. No, it's huge there, man, and big contracts as well.
That's really good of them, because obviously they're one of the best teams in soccer.
Yeah.
And that's their thing.
Yeah.
And they've got mad. I know they're good in the Olympics. They've got mad tennis players. They've got Formula One drivers. So they'll be good at rugby union too. They're doing well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's mad. So a couple games.
Yeah.
Then cruised with them for a bit more.
Yeah. But
did you ever play any games overseas?
Yeah, bro. So this is one.
Tell me about.
Yeah, I know. This is one of the best things about rugby, probably in comparison to league, is that you actually get to travel the world. Man.
Yeah.
So for 10 years, I went to South Africa for 2 or 3 weeks every year.
Oh, no way.
And you fly business class over there.
Yeah.
You fly business class back. And when you're over there, man, I think the rand to the Australian dollar is 8-1 or something. Yeah. So it's you fucking live like a king. It's awesome, man. It's awesome, man. So I got to experience a lot, man. Got to travel, do safaris, go shark diving, do heaps of cool shit, man. And heaps of cool shit that was, as a kid.
I find South Africa, from what I know about it, scary.
Yeah.
Is it scary? I see stuff on South Africa.
No. You're fucking 100% right.
Yeah,
It's
burn each other in the streets.
It's
and
dangerous as fuck.
Yeah, right.
But we travel around with security.
Yeah.
So you have to.
Yeah,
and we live when you stay in a hotel, nice hotel. You stay at and you're in like the nice areas. You don't go to you don't go to where you're going to get into trouble. But even then, like
I watch a bit too much. Remember that old website, Best Gore? I watch a bit too much that, and every second video is from South Africa, and I like watch from the side of my eye, and I'm never going there.
Fuck.
But, no Best Gore? No Best Gore stories?
No. Oh, maybe. No. Oh, there was just this one time. This guy was we were having lunch, and I think this guy came to try to steal one of the cars that we had.
Yeah.
But I love this. Our security guy comes out of nowhere, bang with a taser.
Oh, no way. Were they full armed, your security guys?
He only carried a taser. He carried a gun in his backpack everywhere.
Yep.
I remember, and this is how badass this guy was. He was like special South African policeman. And if you're a special South African policeman, you know they've done some shit, man. One of our, because we used to drive around in vans, and one of the vans got pulled over by the local police.
Yep.
The local police, like, they're trying to staunch the driver and say, give us the fine, pay the fine.
Yeah.
He gets out of the car behind them and just starts fucking spraying the cops, and they're like, fuck, they all got back in the car and drove off.
Oh, did he?
So he was obviously a badass, and they knew the situation. They were like, no, we're not fucking around with this. But actually, man, do you know what? I remember went to the shooting range there. Yeah, so you could shoot those guns on these fucking one of those big snipers. Man, I remember I thought of you straight away when I saw it. Yeah.
Remember GoldenEye?
Yeah, bro.
I talk about this in the book. And when we got we used to thrash GoldenEye Nintendo 64 at his house every day. And we used to put it always on snipers.
Yeah.
License to kill mode. One shot kills, license to kill. And we'd always play in the facility or the bunker. And I would just hide in my one corner, get my sniper, just be like, you'll chase, baba. You'll chase.
Fuck, I love that you still remember that shit, man.
Yeah,
that's so good. That's so
Mario
good.
Kart and GoldenEye, non-stop. Yeah, bro. So did you ever go to any of the islands or?
No. So we did South Africa, traveled Japan. Japan's fucking sick, man.
Yeah.
Japan, and then and the UK. So did fuck all of it, man. All of it. And then even during that time, I was always be able to take a bit of time off and like do a bit of traveling myself. So I went to France, Spain.
Yeah, because I've seen like when I got out of jail this time and learned about all social media and this and that, and started my Insta, and then I had you on Insta.
Yeah.
Well, I have you on Insta, but when I first found you, I added you on Insta, and I looked on your profile, and it just looked like it was like. But I'm saying this in a positive way.
Yeah.
It was like I was looking at like a rich person, like a full like. Rich, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You see those rich white people, and they just tour the world, and they're all smiling and that. You know, just a different life from. Man. And I'm saying that from away in the hood. You know, in our hood, we say, them rich white people that tour the world.
Yeah.
And I looked at you, and bro, and it's just like you're on this mountain, you're in this thing, and it looks like you're in Greece and here and there, and it's like, bro, look at this bloke. Oh, mate, where's all my jail photos? Look at mine. What about my tour? Yeah, and it was just like, and I thought at that moment, bro, and you know what? When I seen your Instagram, that was when I personally had realized the things of how I introduced this podcast with. That's when I realized that when I looked at your Instagram and I seen all your mates and they're all happy and they're all healthy and everyone's smiling and they're all like touring, doing cool stuff.
Yeah.
And then I just think of my life, bro, and it was just everything opposite, you know?
Yeah.
And at that moment, I thought, bro, like, all it was, bro, is just like how life is so like the way life is, bro. It's like that one headmaster, whatever you had that one conversation that changed your life.
Yeah.
And you know, like, not to say you wouldn't have ever been a successful rugby league player. I'm saying that you most definitely would have. I remember how good you were. If that one conversation didn't happen, you would have continued to be a rugby league player and you would have played rugby league as a pro.
But we saw different people around me,
completely different life, for sure. Yeah. You would have been in the hood with us.
So this is the thing, man. Like, you see a lot of the kids coming through, man, and there's countless stories of like the boys who are like, they're good at footy, they're good at boxing, they're good at something. Like, there's countless stories, but not a lot of them move on to anything else, man.
Yeah.
And I think I listened to your other podcasts, and you were speaking to Kenan about this. Yeah. Boys face one sort of challenge, and they're like, "Oh no, fuck it." Like, that's the
That's me.
That's kind of the difference, man. To sort of break through to that next step, man. Because like you're gonna face that not just once, man. It's going to keep coming up.
Yeah.
Like the kind of key to success, like, it isn't just making the right decision once or like fucking up once. It's like, because like you can fuck up and like still bounce back, but it's continually making the right decision along the way. I think it builds up. It's cumulative. And so therefore, like a lot of the kids coming through, man, like you'll do something wrong. You'll mess up. You can bounce back from that. But like the key is to continually make the right decision more often than not. And you'll start heading in the right direction. And like for yourself right now, man, like you've clearly made more better decisions that you have now than when you ended up in prison.
I'm a full civilian now. I've been out for 5 years. So I'm like, I don't even know what jail is anymore. I'm a civilian.
Look at you now, man. Like life in the right fucking direction, man. It's unreal, and it's like and I'm not no fucking like I don't know motivational speaker at all, you know. But like I'm just speaking from my own experience.
You have the right to be, and that's like apart from our story as friends in the contrast lives and the catch up. You're a person who grew up this. Bro, we grew up, all right, let me say this, bro, and I say this in the book. I grew up in Dalitchul, right? And Laurie's family were like, they were more, it was like my family is in that we were like, everyone else, how am I going to say this without sounding judgmental to the people of Dalitchul? Everyone else's home I went to as a kid, right? Anyone I went to school with, they were like, you go to school with like Greek kids and Croatian kids and Italian kids. And you go in their home and it's like weird. Yeah. It's like a museum. And it's like kids don't belong here and they're all weird and their mum's like really old. And then like, but I felt like we were like outcast there, bro. We were like snotty-nosed, grubby kids, man.
We were.
True or not?
100%.
I'm trying to say this in the nicest way. We were snotty-nosed, grubby kids of Dalitchul. Brother, you went from that to the Housing Commission flats, essentially off the back of Glebe, to living the life you've lived through exactly what you're saying there, the pushing bar and never giving up, bar. You know what I mean? So you have the right, when you say you're not a motivational speaker, why not, bar? You honestly have that right, bar. And that's like, because I've had boys on the podcast before, right? You've seen it. Like you've seen Keenan and you've seen Ray, and there'll be many more boys to come that I always get the boys, you know, like I'll get rappers on there and like people, you know, but I always want to get the boys that have mad stories of overcoming things. And yours was like greater than pretty much all of ours because you done it right from the beginning. When we were all kids, you already had that mind state and you dodged it straight away, Brian. Like, what better thing to say? Like, I can sit here and say to the young people, and I do, and it's good in its own unique way. It's like, sorry, I did fuck up. And I did all the worst shit you can think of, and I still made it out. But you can sit there and say, I done none of it. I was with Spanian the whole time and I dodged it right from the start and my life is eats. So in a way, that's more, you know what I mean? And like, but maybe I'm putting you on the spot here, but like, and it might be feeding off a bit like of what you said before, but look, I want the kids out there, bro, like from the housos and you know, not just from the housos, but all kids, but kids to know from the housos, like, that these things are available to them, and if they, you know, love sport, tell them what's your tip. But like, what would you say to a kid?
It's commitment, man. You gotta commit. You gotta commit, and you gotta stay focused on what you want, and you also gotta believe that you're deserving of it, and that you can have it. I think a lot of the reasons guys sort of don't push past that first barrier is because they probably don't think they deserve it, or don't think it's something for them, and then that's something I probably was probably fought in my mind more than anything. Like, it wasn't anyone else saying it to me. It's
not your place.
It was me like thinking like, this isn't me. This isn't for me. This isn't. I'm not deserving of it. Yeah. And like, fuck it, you are. You're deserving of it, and you're deserving to be more than you are. Yeah. That's the thing. And like, 100%, you can be more than you are. Yeah. This is what I see a lot in the boys. They're like, this is who I am. This is my situation. Yeah. This is the life. Like, you can have a bit better. You're deserving of a fucking better life. Yeah. As long as you put in the fucking work. Yeah. it's not going to be easy.
Yeah.
It's 100% probably going to be one of the hardest things you do. But when it comes through and it pays off, and you can be proud to not only yourself, your family, but to the boys and your friends who all fucking respect you and want you to do better, man.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing, man.
And set yourself up.
That's it, bro.
For yourself, for your good life, eh?
Yeah.
That's it, bro. That's the yarn, bro. What a podcast. So that's it. Like, stick to it. He can't have said it any better. Fucking oath, Bubba. Thank you for coming on.
Pleasure, bro. Good to see you.
Let's